The Ottoman invasion of Hungary is one of the most dramatic and tragic episodes in European history, marking the clash of two powerful empires and the fall of a once great kingdom. Hungary, positioned at the crossroads of Europe, became the battleground where the Christian West faced the mighty Islamic Ottoman Empire. This invasion, which began in the early 16th century, unfolded in waves of bloodshed, destruction, and shifting power, leaving Hungary devastated and forever changed. The rise of the Ottoman Empire. By the late 15th century, the Ottoman Empire had grown into a formidable force, spreading across the Middle East, North Africa, and southeastern Europe. Led by a line of powerful sultans, the Ottomans were relentless in their pursuit of territorial expansion. Their rise to dominance was fueled by a combination of superior military tactics, advanced weaponry, and strategic alliances. At the heart of their military prowess was the elite Janissary Corps, infantry troops loyal to the Sultan, trained from childhood, and armed with state-of-the-art weapons like cannons and muskets. These soldiers were key to the Ottoman success, turning them into one of the most feared armies in the world. But the Ottomans didn't stop at their borders. Their eyes were set on Europe, and Hungary was a prime target. Strategically located between the Ottoman Empire and Western Europe, Hungary stood as a buffer state. Whoever controlled Hungary would have a gateway to the heart of Europe. The Ottomans knew this and were determined to seize it. The prelude to invasion, tensions rise. The early 16th century was a period of tension and uncertainty for Hungary. Its king, Louis II, was young and inexperienced, ruling a kingdom plagued by internal divisions and corruption. The nobility was fragmented, and the kingdom was weakened by decades of political instability. This made Hungary vulnerable to external threats, especially the growing Ottoman Empire to the south. In 1520, the Ottoman Empire found itself under the leadership of one of its most legendary sultans, Suleiman the Magnificent. Ambitious and determined, Suleiman wanted to expand his empire into Europe, and Hungary was in his sights. In 1521, the first cracks began to appear in Hungary's defenses. Suleiman launched a campaign that captured the important fortress city of Belgrade, a strategic stronghold on the Hungarian border. This victory gave the Ottomans a foothold in Europe and sent shockwaves through the Hungarian nobility, who were now fully aware of the looming Ottoman threat. But instead of uniting to face this danger, Hungary remained divided. While some sought alliances with Western Europe to defend against the Ottomans, others were more concerned with their own internal power struggles. This disunity would prove fatal in the years to come. The Battle of Mohács, Hungary's darkest hour. The decisive moment came in 1526, with the Battle of Mohács, one of the most tragic events in Hungarian history. King Louis II gathered his forces to confront the Ottoman army, hoping to stop the invasion in its tracks. But what followed was not a battle, it was a massacre. On August 29, 1526, the two armies met on the fields of Mohács. The Hungarian forces, though brave, were vastly outnumbered and ill-prepared for the disciplined and experienced Ottoman army. Suleiman's forces, numbering around 60,000, were equipped with advanced artillery, while the Hungarian army, about half that size, lacked cohesion and modern weaponry. The battle was swift and brutal. The Ottomans, using their superior firepower, overwhelmed the Hungarian forces within hours. King Louis II, only 20 years old, drowned while fleeing the battlefield, and most of the Hungarian nobility was slaughtered. Thousands of Hungarian soldiers were killed, and the kingdom's military strength was shattered. The defeat at Mohács was not just a military loss, it was the death knell for the Hungarian kingdom. With the king dead and the nobility decimated, Hungary was left leaderless and defenseless. The once mighty kingdom was now at the mercy of the Ottomans. The aftermath, Hungary in ruins. The fall of Hungary was swift and devastating. After their victory at Mohács, the Ottomans marched north, plundering towns and cities along the way. Buda, the capital of Hungary, fell to the Ottomans in 1541, and the kingdom was divided. The central and southern parts of Hungary, including the capital, became an Ottoman province, ruled directly by the Sultan. The eastern part of the kingdom, known as Transylvania, became a semi-independent vassal state under Ottoman control. The western parts of Hungary were claimed by the Habsburgs, who tried to defend what little was left of the kingdom from further Ottoman expansion. The division of Hungary led to decades of conflict and suffering. The regions under Ottoman control were subjected to heavy taxation, forced labor, and frequent raids by Ottoman forces. Villages were destroyed, farmland was abandoned, and entire communities were displaced. Many Hungarians were captured and sold into slavery, while others fled to neighboring regions in search of safety. The Ottoman occupation also left a lasting cultural and religious impact on Hungary. Mosques and Islamic architecture appeared in cities under Ottoman control, while Islamic customs and laws were imposed on the population. Though Hungary remained predominantly Christian, the presence of Islam created a new cultural dynamic that would persist for centuries. The Long War, a bleak struggle for survival, Hungary's resistance against the Ottomans didn't end with the initial invasion. Over the next century, Hungarian forces, along with their Habsburg allies, engaged in a series of conflicts known as the Long War. These wars were brutal and inconclusive, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The war dragged on for decades, with Hungary caught in the middle of a destructive tug-of-war between the Ottomans and the Habsburgs. Towns were besieged and razed to the ground, and the Hungarian countryside became a wasteland of abandoned farms and burned villages. The population, already decimated by the initial Ottoman invasion, continued to suffer from famine, disease, and the constant threat of violence. Despite the hardships, Hungary's resistance never fully collapsed. Rebel groups and local militias, known as the Hajduks, fought a guerrilla war against the Ottomans, staging ambushes and raids from the forests and mountains. Though their efforts couldn't drive the Ottomans out of Hungary, they kept the spirit of resistance alive. The end of Ottoman rule, Hungary reclaimed. It wasn't until the late 17th century, during the Great Turkish War, that Hungary finally saw the light at the end of the tunnel. A coalition of European forces, led by the Habsburgs and supported by the papacy, launched a massive campaign to drive the Ottomans out of Central Europe. The Siege of Vienna in 1683 marked the turning point in the war, as the Ottomans were decisively defeated and forced into retreat. Over the next 2 decades, the Habsburgs gradually reclaimed Hungarian territory, culminating in the Treaty of Karlowitz in 1699, which officially ended Ottoman rule in Hungary. After nearly 150 years of occupation, Hungary was finally free from Ottoman control. But the damage had been done. Hungary emerged from the Ottoman era as a shadow of its former self, its population decimated, its cities in ruins, and its once proud kingdom reduced to a Habsburg-controlled province. The legacy of the Ottoman invasion would haunt Hungary for centuries, a dark chapter in its history that reshaped the nation and left scars that would never fully heal.